In the mid-'80s, DJ Scott LaRock, who was a social worker, would meet a homeless rapper, KRS-One. Along with D-Nice, Boogie Down Productions was formed. This two-part mini-doc featuring MC Shan and Roxanne Shante will break down one of the greatest rap battles of all time, as well as the shooting of DJ Scott LaRock. You ready? Part 1. The bridge is over. Life is lyrical.
Scott LaRock was the social worker that saw my talent. And he had a bunch of rappers around him because he was a hot DJ. And he had a bunch of people who always wanted to get on. But he took a liking to me because I was a philosopher. And he used to love to hear me talk about philosophy. That was Scott LaRock. And I used to break him. Because what I was studying, nobody knew. You know, I was on some other shit. I'm telling cats when, Antarctica was lush green land. I'm like, do you know about this? And then in 85, looking at me like, you bugging, man. Like, why do you, and I'm rhyming like this too, So all of a sudden, Scott LaRock goes to this guy named Mr. Magic. And Mr. Magic disses him. Says, there's this little Boogie Down Productions, whatever. This guy dissed Scott LaRock.
Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack Mr. Magic Marley Marl. I got to have it. I miss Mr. Magic, versatile.
Because Boogie Down Productions wanted to be members of the Juice Crew. They wanted to be part of the Juice Crew, and Magic took their record and broke it on air and said no. Because that's how he would tell people if they could be down or if they couldn't. So he cracked their record and was like, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. And then before we knew it, they were like, oh, so since we can't be part of the crew, we're gonna go at the crew. And this is how we're gonna do it.
When he bring that record up to Magic, Magic will curse anybody out. I don't care if you was gangster of all gangster. You know what I'm saying? Magic was crazy like that. So Chris bring it up to HBI for Magic to play. And Magic basically told him this is garbage and threw it at him. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here with that garbage.
Scott came back and told me, man, he ain't getting no deal with the Juice Crew. They just did. I diss? Juice Crew? Yo, watch this. I wrote this song called The Bridge is Over first. Then I said, nobody's into reggae right now. Nobody's really gonna understand what I'm doing. Threw that to the side. Then I wrote this song called South Bronx. And I wrote South Bronx because I said, I'm a teacher. I'm only coming into hip hop as a teacher. That's it. I went in there, I said, Scott, I will not let you down. I remember telling him that to his face because it was his paycheck. And he had his daughter and his wife and the rent was due. And he couldn't afford it. He couldn't afford it. But he believed. He believed. And he said, you know what? I like this record, South Bronx. And remember, it wasn't South Bronx. It was me doing the rhymes. I would just tell it to him. I say, way back in the days when hip hop began with Coke LaRock, Kool Herc, and then Scott used to just bump, yo, you're gonna kill it. So he took his last, and we went in the studio only for 2 hours is all we had to lay the record down and mix in everything. So everything was one take.
We have to tell you a little story about where we come from. South Bronx, the South Bronx. That's it. The bridge is over, the bridge is over. The bridge is over, the bridge is over.
It's all you're gonna hear when KRS-One step up. I'm thick like syrup. No, I'm not corrupt. Sit back and relax and watch the KRS are up. No, I won't let her because of how I'm set up. I'm coming in here with a crazy fresh lyrics from the ghetto. MCs get wetter. They met up with a typical subliminal original metaphysical criminal writer. Fighter, paid pictures and games of neither. I simply grab the mic and make the party get liver. I'm a rhymer with a timer. South Bronx, the South Bronx, the South Bronx. We don't come out of town to begin.
South Bronx.
You are right. Make this here one jam that you do not start no fight. Cause that is one thing that we all must see done. And if you start some shit, your ass will have to run. If you was in all the ladies, all the ladies in the house say, ah.
He done said, oh, hip hop started in the. I never said. I said, let me tell you a little story about where they come from. But I guess that was his niche into the game. So you can't blame him for doing it. You know what I'm saying? But if he listened to it, you will hear me say, let me tell you a little story about where they come from.
I want to tell you a little story about where they come from.
And they felt that would be the best way to attack it, would be you saying that hip hop started out in Queensbridge, when it didn't. It started up in the Bronx. But he never said that it started out in Queensbridge. He was just telling our Queensbridge story. But that was the leeway to get in.
Magic is WBLS 107.5 in the class by itself, often imitated but never quite duplicated. This is the original Juice Crew, which covers the entire Metro New York area, because I am, of course, from the Boogie Down Bronx. And this KRS crew, who are they? Where are they from? Casanovas don't know them. Casanovas don't know them. Sounds like a couple of, sounds like sauce. Ragu, homeboy. We will battle you anytime, any place, anywhere, if you dare.
What was my reaction? Kill that noise. Kill that noise. Kill that noise. Kill that noise. Now he drops another one. The bridge is over. Now, here I am. I want to get back at Chris. I want to get him. Marley didn't want to do that song. He didn't want to do the next diss record because he thought that it was going to take Chris to a new height if we went and did that record. Like, y'all don't even know the true history. I was ready to do this other record, but who stopped me? Marley.
I had went out of the country, and when I came back, they were like, oh my God. See, this is before technology, so I didn't get it over there. So when I came back home, they were like, did you hear this? And I was like, what? And then I heard, dun, 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 dun.
Manhattan keeps on making it, Brooklyn keeps on taking it, Bronx keeps creating it, and Queens keeps on faking it.
I was like, what is that? Who is that? What is that? And then when it got to my part,
I finally figured it out, a magic mouth is used for sucking. Roxanne Shante is only good for steady fucking.
I was like, where are they? Who is that? And they was like, that's KRS-One. And that's called The Bridge is Over.
First of all, the way I have interpreted the beginning of rap music is graffiti. Graffiti had a lot to do with the beginning. I remember when I was a high school student, we would congregate at the local, or should I say they would congregate at the local train yard and start working on their masterpieces. And eventually what happened from that type of greeting or encounter, guys would start rapping, and someone would have their boxing on, play music and start rapping, and somebody would start, picking up the tempo while they were painting their pieces. And from there, what I think happened is that guys started branching out in their own particular areas. People started playing in block parties and local events, and club owners who worked in the neighborhoods and tried to gather a certain amount of clientele from that neighborhood started to realize who the so-called man was in that area, which turned out to be the guys who wrote their name on the train. More than likely, it was the guys who were the most popular people in the neighborhood. And so after that, they hired these guys, and these guys started doing what they did naturally and getting paid for.
Right now we have Mr. DJ Scott LaRock and KRS-One. What's happening, fellas? I'm gonna tell it like this. Magic got a big mouth. He needs to shut up. He tried to diss us one night in the studio a couple months ago. I said, yo, Chris, let's put out this record. Let's diss him. You dissed him very hard. I wanted him to know that we have a new record coming out called Watch My 9mm Go Bang! One thing, I like to dedicate this record to Roxanne Shante. Thank you.
And then I think maybe a few weeks later, I bumped into KRS-One at the bank. And I think he spoke about this in one of his interviews. He did, didn't he? Yeah, he spoke about his interview where I was like, I walked in the bank and I had my son. And I remember being there with my sister. I think it was like one of my little sisters at the time. And we're going into the bank and I spot him. And as soon as I spot him, I'm like, hold a baby. And I'm ready to fight. Like, yeah, I was like, hold a baby. You know, and that's the Shante coming out of me. And he was like, hold up, wait a minute. I was like, nah, ain't no wait a minute now. We about to tear this bank up. You know, and because again, that's how I took hip hop. I expected him to say something, like to defend it, to be as rock. I expected him to speak like The Bridge Is Over. I expected him to like dee-dee-dee-da-dee-dee-dee-dee-da-dee-day. You know, I thought we was just gonna tear the bank up today. You know, like that's the way I expected it to go from that point. But he was like, "You're right." You know, he truly humbled himself, and I was like, yeah, don't talk about me no more. Like, yeah, I walked out of there feeling like, yeah, that's right. Now give me the baby, let's go.
Records blazing all over New York. People are bugging. South Bronx. I'm sleeping in Central Park. I'm at the World Trade Center like this, hearing dudes say my ish, going down the escalator. Yeah, that's South Bronx ish. I'm sitting there with a bunch of homeless people like this.
South Bronx, South Bronx.